My name is Caroline Burnett, and I'm just so grateful to be here today. Honestly, it feels kind of like serendipity. A year ago, actually, after watching Brianna Stinsman give the medallion ceremony speech, I went home and I wrote a speech if I was given the opportunity to speak to you all today. So I went back and I found that speech when I began preparing for today. It was pretty rough, I'm gonna be honest with you all. I referenced, the places you'll go, but I also quoted like Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Taylor Swift. So it was like pretty all over the place. And just as an act of service to you all, I'm not using that speech today. But I just found it helpful getting into my head from a year ago and seeing how my feelings towards the group of people in front of me today, how little that message has actually changed. What has stuck with me from what I wrote a year ago, and really how I have felt over all these 4 years with you all, is an immense sense of gratitude for the community you have provided me, for the opportunities you have opened up to me, but most importantly, how you've all taught me to be a better person and leader, and truly how people in this cohort shaped the human that I hope to show up as for the rest of my life. In NGSC, we talk a lot about values, and how our values should guide us as people and as leaders. 4 years ago, we were actually asked to write down our values and share them with one another. And since then, we have been asked to reflect on our values at every leadership seminar and in every course. But what I have failed to think about during all those reflections is the why behind them. Why do we develop those specific values over others? And how can we argue that one value be more remarkable than another? I was recently asked what is the kindest thing I've ever done. And to be frank, that question made me just really uncomfortable, because although I like to say that kindness is my leading value, how often are you asked to actually articulate that? But that question prompted me to share more how I learned about kindness, and I would like to share that story with you all today. So I'm gonna take you back to first grade with me. I was 6 years old, my hair was white blonde, I was sporting a lot of sequins at the time, and on the first day of school, I met Liberty Davidson, who we all called Libby. Libby was this most joyful and smiley person probably I will ever meet, and Libby was born with an extra chromosome, which is referred to as Down syndrome. At this point, I had never met someone with an intellectual disability before. I grew up in a small town in Minnesota with a population of about 7,000. Really, it's this idyllic little lake town with a local coffee shop and bookstore, and people will say hi to you on the sidewalk regardless if you know them or not, or if you want to say hi to them or not. So it was a beautiful place to grow up, but it took me until I was a little bit older to learn that it wasn't a very representative place. Diversity in socioeconomic status, race, sexuality, and ability just wasn't very widespread. So stepping into first grade, I can still recall my confusion at meeting Libby. I still remember at the beginning of knowing Libby, almost wanting to avoid her. 6-year-old me didn't understand why she spoke louder than I did, or stood close to me closer than my other friends did, or she acted in ways that were just different than the way that I acted. Regardless of this hesitancy, Libby just loved me. She loved everyone in my class, but I remember how much she loved me before I loved her. She would smile at me and hug me and bring me treats and presents, even when I wasn't always returning that kindness to the same extent. She just loved so generously with everyone she met. There was really no limit to how Libby spread her kindness through her actions and words. In April of 2009, Libby passed away, and I have just often thought about her and what she taught me and my classmates. My teacher, Mrs. Behan, actually wrote me a note when I graduated from high school about how we live in this world that loves and praises beauty and brains, which are maybe two things that Libby didn't fit the socially decided definitions of, but she spread a light and a joy and really something extraordinary that I've never seen before. Her tenacity and spirit taught me at such a young age not just what it meant to see things differently, but that there are ways to be kind that I didn't know about. Her commitment to kindness towards me and our class fostered a friendship in which Libby became my favorite person, and she really still is. She taught me, my classmates, and the staff at our school what it meant to be kind selflessly, without motive, without letting emotions of competition or jealousy or anything else hinder that. What we try to embody as character-driven leaders is what I learned from Libby, that to live along our values is to serve selflessly in order to positively impact the communities within and external to our own, but also to shape how we care for others on an individual level. I tell that story because I think it's an example of how there are people in our lives that transform us and teach us, but we might not always realize it right away. So after thinking about one value, kindness, it got me thinking about how we get all of our values, and it's really from those around us. And that is just why I show up today filled with gratitude, because it's the people in this room that have taught me the values I want to live by. Valeria Perez taught me about determination. Valeria is the co-executive for the organization Refugee Education and Clinical Team, which aims to address healthcare disparities refugee and asylee communities experience in the Phoenix Metro. I've seen Valeria take leadership in this organization while juggling maybe like a million other things, and I've just always looked up to her as someone who is devoted to doing right by others. Vishnu Raghavan taught me about curiosity. Vishnu and I have had almost every NGSC class together over the last 4 years, so I've gotten to know just the blessing of getting to know Vishnu and his passion for learning. Vishnu knows more languages than anyone I will ever meet, probably. And in class, you can hear him asking a lot of questions, but really for no other reason than to listen to what the other person has to say. John Luce taught me about humility. John is also a member of REACT with Valeria and served as a mission team leader in NGSC. He got nominated for a Marshall Scholarship, which is just this huge achievement, and I found out when reading in ASU News. We come into NGSC seeing lots of leaders, and I came into college thinking that a leader is someone with the loudest voice in the room. But John isn't a leader in how loudly he speaks. He's a leader in how he supports other people. John checks in with me periodically just to see how I'm doing, and I now see that that's what a characteristic of a leader is. And I know that in other roles, John has been that support to others. What is remarkable is that I could probably say something about every single person in this room right now and what they have taught me. I was given a time limit though, so I just want to say thank you. I feel so honored to say I was a part of this organization, but I'm more proud to say that I was a part of this cohort because of all of you. We'll continue to meet wonderful and passionate and service-driven people in our lifetime, but what is so unique about these last 4 years is the concentration of those people in this group. To be in a room with you all and have something positive to say about each of you is something I haven't experienced in a group this large before. So I'm going to conclude with congratulations. Congratulations on all you have accomplished over your years at ASU and your dedication to NGSC. I hope you feel immensely proud of how you have positively impacted NGSC, ASU, and the people you might not even realize. Thank you.